think my auntie died of that.
Okay. What, she had like a nut allergy or something?
There's something peanuts in some food. She's not allowed to eat peanuts, do you know what I mean? And it was in her food or something when she went out, and you know, she had to get an ambulance, do you know what I mean?
I guess no one had an EpiPen or anything.
No, I don't think so. You know, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I don't know the whole circumstances, but I just knew that she had that experience.
Yeah.
And I realised that she's allergic to peanuts, my auntie. But I mean, she died a few years back, do you know what I mean? So she's not here anymore.
And a couple of years ago too, there was a story, funny enough, that was quite in the media quite a bit, for a little while anyway, of a girl who had died like that. She went into, there's a chain of like sandwich shops and drink. I think they sell sandwiches and drinks and that kind of thing. Cake and that type of shit. Pret a manger, or whatever it's called. It's called P-R-E-T and then Pret a manger or something like that. But there's quite. If you go to Southampton, you'll see it for sure. Definitely anywhere around West Quay, if you see what I mean. There's always one of them around somewhere. But apparently, this girl went into one of these chain of these sandwich shops, whatever, and bought something, and it was supposed to be, nut free, like you said. Same thing. It was supposed to be, if you see what I mean. But obviously wasn't. She ended up having a bad reaction and dying. If you see what I mean. And she was only like 17 or something. If you see what I mean. So I remember there being a big thing in the media about it, basically saying that they need to somehow find a way to regulate these things better to protect people that have these
if you buy things today, like cornflakes or anything, it says on the bottom.
It
says no nut trace, and all this, do you know what I mean? No nuts in this factory used, you know what I mean? Whatever. It's quite.
Yeah, it will tell you. It will tell you.
So I think like people are allergic to different things a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know, and it's like when, let's say, 10 people took cocaine, the same amount. I think they're all going to have a little bit slightly different experience.
Correct.
Or I think things affect people differently a little bit. It's like cannabis. Say some people get paranoid on it and they won't touch it on me because it freaks them out. But I think other people don't.
Yeah.
They don't get paranoid, if you see what I mean. I don't.
Yeah, same.
I know that.
Same.
I mean, I used
to. But
to.
It's funny though, because I remember growing up, people used to say that to me a lot, and I never understood that because it never used to happen to me. For some reason, I don't know. It never ever made me paranoid. If you see what I mean, But I know for some people it did. They would tell me that it made them paranoid. But it never did for me. Actually, funny enough, most of the people that I grew up with too, I never remember them being overly paranoid. When we would sit and have a smoke together and chill out or whatever. And most people that I know that that I've ever known that have smoked are pretty much always fine. You get the odd one, the odd person that will say had a bad experience.
I think people, each individual again, they've got to learn to control their paranoia. Because I know I have.
Yeah.
I don't get paranoid. Because I know that if I do get paranoid, I just stop it. So, I mean, I stop my own paranoia.
Yeah.
You got to control your own thoughts.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
You see what I mean? And I'm doing that a lot more now.
Got to be aware of it.
I'm actually controlling my thoughts a little bit more. Sometimes thoughts creep in my head, and I change my thought, if you see what I mean, because I'm trying to sort of control them, if you see what I mean. You have got to control your own thoughts, haven't you? I think.
Yeah.
And yeah. So drugs can be quite expensive too, can't they? Do you know what I mean?
That's another thing too. It's true. A lot of people end up going into debt, going into financial debt because of drugs and shit, and some people end up getting in trouble with the wrong people because of the debt that they've accumulated that they either refuse to pay or can't pay.
Yeah, there's a lot of gangster going on.
Oh yeah, for sure. It happens a lot, mate. I remember even growing up, like people might owe the wrong person $100, if you see what I mean. Before you know it, a week's gone by, 2 weeks gone by, I haven't paid the person, and then the person comes looking for them. Where's my $100? dollars. You know what I mean? Like something as simple as that. But you know, when it's
That's crazy.
like you said, depending on where you are, you know, your circumstances and shit, things are different. You know.
Like, so I mean, each country's got their different rules and different laws about each different drug.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, Amsterdam, they're quite.
Well, a lot of countries today are becoming very liberal with the whole cannabis thing, because even in Thailand, in Switzerland, Germany, a few other countries are now talking about making it, you know, legal for medicinal purposes.
Canada.
Yeah, and Canada. They've done it quite a lot in Canada. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's, you know, be honest with you, like these places that are quite really strict with cannabis, you know what I mean? They find a little bit on a young lad, say he's got 20, and he might end up in prison and lose his job and all this. I mean, I think that's crazy.
With a record just for a little bit.
Well, I just think that's, you know, it's not like he's murdered anyone.
No, he's literally going to go. He's literally going to go home and have a smoke and chill out.
Yeah, chill out. You know, what's wrong with it? For goodness sake, that's what I question a little bit. You know, because what I question really is why they allow drink, which makes you go crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
And lash out on people. You know, like even throw bottles on people's heads. You know, and all kinds of things. You know what I mean? You know, drink causes. Not always, you know, because like some people have some really lovely times with it.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah,
have some really nice parties.
Really nice night.
Nice parties, celebrations. You know, if you've
Nice
got the
meal.
right people around you, you know. That's when you go out and someone's in a bad mood. You know, you're having a party somewhere in a pub.
Yeah.
And someone's gone out and they're not in a good mood and they're getting jealous of what you got and they ruin your party. Do you know what I mean? And all kinds of stuff. Do you know what I mean? You know.
Yeah.
It can get quite nasty, really, you know. Where I look at the cannabis world, you know, it's quite a peaceful drug, you know. It's sort of like, it's like this, you know, and it's like,
definitely.
It's not like a war thing, is it? You know, like, I think alcohol's more war, you know, where and they advertise it and it's sort of like, yeah, we're allowed to drink and get crazy and out your head.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know, you know, and I just sort of question why they put people in prison for such a peaceful thing.
And the thing is that that's the only plant. If you think about it, right, mate? What other plant have they made illegal? Can you think of any other plant that they made illegal?
No. Poppy?
No, because they still use the poppy to create their morphine and all that type of shit. Where do you think that's where morphine comes from? The same heroin, morphine is essentially like heroin, essentially. Yeah. It all comes from the poppy.
I don't know.
It all comes from the poppy, if you see what I mean. So they rely heavily on these poppy fields.
Poppy
production.
Poppy's been out for thousands of years.
You know,
the Egyptians used to grow it.
Yeah.
You know, and they used to sort of get high on the stuff.
Yeah.
Sell it.
Opium and all these things.
It used to be a trade.
Yeah.
It used to be a trade thingy, you know.
Yeah. Still today there's a big trade for it, mate. That's why you got a lot of these farmers that have these large poppy fields, if you see what I mean, because they make they make quite a lot of money, like, you know, like, big business, you know.
I mean, even like, was it Teresa's May's husband?
Yeah.
He had a field, and you know.
Well, not only that, but he had stakes in a company that was basically was producing producing medicines from cannabis, essentially.
Right.
And she was bloody anti, you know, against it, and all these different things. Meanwhile, her husband was profiting heavily off of, you know, this.
I don't know if it was true.
It was true. It was true. Yeah. Well, we'll say allegedly. He was allegedly profiting. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was allegedly profiting. So yeah. But it's funny though, isn't it? Like, you know, people's like sometimes like the hypocrite. You know, a lot of these people are hypocrites because you get a lot of these people who were like even not long ago there was another MP that was in the papers, and one of the article basically the article was basically talking about he was this MP again like for drugs and everything else or something like this. You know what I mean? And apparently every morning he woke up and had a joint before breakfast. You know what I mean? That was the article. The article was about this bloke who, you know, it looked like he was in his 60s, maybe, you know, close to retirement. And he was, you know, he'd been in, you know, an MP for a long time in this constituency, or whatever it was, and yeah, he woke up every morning and had a joint, and before he got ready for work, and went off to work, and you know.
Boris Johnson and his mate, he used to be Prime Minister, I can't can't remember.
Yeah,
Alright.
got Cameron.
Cameron, that's it.
Yeah.
They used to take cannabis when they were
Yeah.
at college
Yeah,
all
yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
Apparently, you know.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know.
Allegedly.
It's what I read.
Yeah.
If you sort of mean.
Yeah.
You know, I think who hasn't taken it?
Yeah.
For goodness sake, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think like even the police take it myself.
Well, a lot though. Yeah, I think, yeah. Honestly, there's a lot of people. Like that's why we kind of live in a very hypocritical world in that regard, especially when it comes to cannabis. Like, you know, there's so many people that so many politicians and celebrity people and otherwise that use it for various different reasons, whether it be just for recreational use, like a lot of people, or some people use it for serious medicinal use, where they really benefit from it on a medicinal level, not only on a recreational level, but on a deeper level, for pain or their condition. Sometimes you've got, like you said earlier, some people out there got medical conditions like I remember even watching a documentary, a cannabis documentary one time, say for example, and this guy had I think he had MS.
Oh yeah.
And multiple sclerosis or something like this, and they would show you the difference between, like, when you wake up in the morning before he'd had like some cannabis, they would show you like the way he would be. He couldn't really like control himself, and he was like really like really struggling with his condition, if you see what I mean. Bless him. And then he would have a little bit of cannabis. He had like a cannabis pen, like the pen, like the the vape pen, if you see what I mean. And he was using like one of those cannabis vape pens, and he would take a few hits, and after like 10-15 minutes you could see like a complete difference. Like he could talk better, he could he wasn't shaking as much, he was more coherent, if you see what I mean. He was just wasn't really shaking anymore, just completely almost like in control again, if you see what I mean. So for some people out there, and even people that have epilepsy and all these various different things too, there's lots of conditions out there that have been proven that it can benefit people that have, even, I remember even last time there was a very controversial thing, I can't remember if it was I think it was either in America or Canada, somewhere like this, and basically these parents had to give their daughter, I think it was their daughter, basically this cannabis oil to help her on a daily basis, because she had some kind of epilepsy, where she was having like 200 seizures a day. 200 seizures a day, mate. Awful. And they were trying to attack these parents and say all these horrible things about them, and trying to trying to basically take the daughter away from them. And they were basically saying, listen, our daughter, we've tried everything else, and this seems to be the only thing that works. She's gone from having 200 seizures down to 1 or 2 a day, or sometimes 0. That's almost like a miracle in my eyes, if you see what I mean. It's a huge, improvement. So yeah, there are some.
So I get them sometimes. I've had epileptic fits, I know that.
Okay. Well, apparently it's got over, like when it comes to, obviously we're not saying that it works for everyone, just because we might be pro something, ourselves, doesn't mean necessarily it will work for everyone. So we're not advocating it for use for everyone. It's an individual thing, and anyone that ever does try anything like that should always do it, because out of their own interest, not because they ever feel obligated to, or feel peer pressured to, or So
I mean, some people are spiked, don't they, when they go out?
Yeah, that's
That's the bad thing,
awful.
isn't it? Because like say, drugs affect people differently, don't they? And like some people get killed by being spiked.
Yeah.
Because they might be on some other medication or something. You just don't. Thing is, when you look at someone, you really don't know what they're on, what they're taking. Sometimes you can see right, a little bit, that they might be drunk. Say someone's drinking, alright, and they've just come out of the pub, alright, but you didn't know they'd come out of the pub, but they're walking down the street, you can tell they've been drinking, by looking at them from a distance, if you see what I mean, Or if you're near them, you'll probably smell them, of alcohol. Same with smoking, really, like if you're smoking, you can stink a bit, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? And if you smoke a lot, I suppose, people are going to see it in your face, or, they're just going to see if you're not drinking water enough, or so on, I don't know, I mean, because I've been smoking all my life, and I don't know whether you can see that right now, or not, but I think you can see sometimes, you know, it's like Philadelphia, going back to that, you know, where what's happened to Philadelphia. You can see it on YouTube at the moment, you know. People taking those kind of drugs. Why are they doing that today? You know, why is that city like that and other cities not? Do you know what I mean? You know, I don't know.
Yeah. But there are a lot of places like that though, mate. Honestly, there are a lot of places like that, but it's not always documented, if you see what I mean. You know. But I think what is so shocking about it there is not only obviously it's been documented and so many people have seen it now, but to the degree of the amount of people. I think that's what is the most shocking thing, when you see close to maybe a couple of hundred people.
That's right, yeah.
On one long strip.
Yeah.
On different sides of the road.
Yeah, on a half-an-hour movie.
Yeah. And he's literally walking from maybe 10 blocks in that strip.
Yeah, and you'll see about 100 people. It just looks
living
pretty
rough,
sad.
living rough.
Hopeless. They don't know.
Needles all around.
It looks like they just want to get out of the world they're living in. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. It's so heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking. That's what it is, mate.
Yeah.
It really is. When you see it, you can just. For me, that's all. For me, it's just all you can do is empathise, mate. Because you have to ask yourself, like, sometimes you just question, like, how did this person get into this position? What led? You know, because everyone's got a different story. You know, just because that person is there now doesn't mean that they didn't have a good life before, or you know, something could have happened. They might have got involved with the wrong crowd. Might have been a man or a woman who have met like a partner. Met like say a guy might have met a bird, but she likes doing drugs. You know what I mean? He gets together with her, and before you know it, he starts doing drugs too because he's in love with her and they're together. You see what I mean? She becomes a bit of a bad influence on him. Before long, he might end up doing something a bit harder. Before you know it, he's overdosed and gone. If you see what I mean? Like, you know, it's yeah.
I wonder how many people die each year.
A lot.
You know?
A lot. There's a lot of overdoses every year, mate.
I will put it in the information.
Not only from illicit drugs, but from prescription drugs. If you see what I mean. I think prescription drugs might potentially be even higher. Who knows? Because there are a lot of people too that also. You know, I hate to talk about it, but there are some people that also, you know, take their, you know, unalive themselves with medications. You know, they'll take a whole box of pills and shit.
I will put that information below, you know, about how many people die of it, you know, each year.
Yeah.
But, you know, even pharmacy is a big business, isn't it?
Oh, huge. $1 billion industry, mate. So
yeah,
the pharmaceutical drug industry is $1 billion, you know, industry, corporations, you know.
It's like me myself, right? You know, I'll be honest. You know, I've experienced seeing doctors myself. You know, over the last 15 years, because I lost my wife. You know?
Yeah.
And it was difficult for me, so I went to see the doctors, and they're quite wanting in a funny way, in a kind of way to make money. Maybe, I don't know. They can't wait to put you on medication of some kind. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like a lot of people. In this country anyway, I don't know about other countries, I really don't, maybe America or whatever, but this country, it's like a great big business out here. And a lot of people want things that knock you out.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? You know, because the tablets that they actually put me on will knock you out. That's the truth. You know, like, make you, I don't know. Just not, you know, like
a zombie.
Numb.
Like a zombie.
You know, and I'm quite shocked, you know, it's not like when you go and see a doctor, they don't say, you know, they don't kind of like understand. You know, like, if you just lost your wife and your children, you know, and you go through difficult times, and they don't sort of like say you have a banana and drink water, we can't do nothing about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Thorne, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah. You know, so I questioned it a little bit, if you see what I mean, about, I don't like it, you know, in a kind of way that doctors are kind of like putting people down more than they're trying to really sort their problems out, if you ask me.
Yeah.
That's what I question. I find them quite dangerous to people. You know, a lot of people have died, so they're put on medications and they're just left on it year after year,
not being reviewed.
And this medication is not doing them any good whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know.
The thing is too, like, I think people don't always realise the severity, like, of like long-term, like taking like prescription medications or pharmaceutical medications.
As long-term damage.
On a long-term basis, has a serious damage, mate, on your kidneys, your liver, all these things. Like serious, what can be seriously damaged.
It puts you backwards.
Your stomach, it all can destroy people's stomach.
They put, you know, in my opinion, not all doctors, because I know there's some good doctors out there, probably, yeah. But to me, I find them a little bit dangerous, where they really mess people's life up and make it worse. People's lives worse than they already were.
Yeah.
You know, not making them better, they're making them cry more,
Yeah.
or lay in bed more. You know, I don't know. You know what I mean? I question it, because I know in my experience, you know, that it's kind of like the doctors want to kill me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I found. You know, it's not like they want to help me up high up, get up the ladder again, you know, and be with my wife again, or another girl. You know, so it's like put you down, you know, and it's like so I went to the doctors because I said, I'm finding a struggle, you know, I've got my children, you know, and my wife's got this boyfriend, they're swearing all the time, you know, not this bloke, whatever. And not just that, you know, I was finding it very difficult just to manage to pay my bills. Having 2 children every weekend, you know, because I was on my own now, paying all the bills, paying all the electric, you know. And it was just very difficult at that time, you know. I kind of like getting a little bit, I was depressed as well because I lost my wife. So, you know, I just lost my house as well. So very depressed and angry as well, you know, because she took the keys off my room, you know, in a very suddenly way, you know, in a funny way, you know, because like I say, you know, it's like we had a good relationship, you know, and it's like all suddenly over because she was planning it, if you see what I mean, you know. So she was born deaf, you know, so she's got a different perspective on everyone else. I'm telling you, if you're born deaf, it's worse than being blind, if you ask me. In a funny way, it's different, you know. It's you kind of like live in a very lonely world. I can't, you know, I can't explain it. You know, you know. But anyway, I met this woman and I fell in love with her. You know, after my weight training, what I was talking about, and you know, it was all magical at first. You know, and we fell in love, and I thought it was going to be forever, but it's not. You know what I mean? And it's completely devastating at the end. You know, it's so shocking. And I say, I'm glad it's all happened now. Very glad, very pleased, because I found myself. You know, and I don't think I found myself when I was married. Back then, you know. And it's probably why I struggled to keep her. You know, because I didn't find myself. I mean, she was making me unhappy. She was lazy a bit, you know. And maybe deaf people are. Maybe deaf people are more lazy than most other people, you know. They live in a different reality. You know, like I say, blind people live in a different reality to us, but you know, I think I can understand a blind person, I feel, a lot more than a deaf person, you know. But I feel like they're more, what do you call it, narcissistic behaviour people. They're more likely to be quite wicked. That's what I think. I mean, I've googled it and found that out. They're more narcissistic. So, let's say, you know, I'm like, it was kind of like really, at first, when you meet a woman, it's like a drug. You know,
Love can be like a drug,
and it's beautiful. And it's magical.
Most people are addicted to love, that's for
but
sure.
Then after 13